Morning, everyone. Welcome to this lovely morning and the Tuesday, October 21st, 2025 meeting of the Board of County Commissioners, Lewis and Clark. As usual, now that we have all three of the county commissioners seated properly, we will now say the Pledge of Allegiance. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we will start this out in our usual manner and order, and I introduce everybody. I'm Candace Payne. I am the chair. To my immediate left is Mr. Tom Rawl, the vice chair.
Good morning.
And to his left is Brandy Grandy, who keeps us all in line. She's the recording secretary and has a whip right in the corner of her desk. Keep us moving. Good morning, Brandy.
Morning.
And Jenny Chambers, who is head of the planning department and public works. Welcome, Jenny. To my right is Commissioner Andy Hunhout. We'll tell them eventually about the story about the cleanings. Nico Hash and TJ. Oh my God, you got your own name tag. I'm so proud. TJ Murphy from the county attorney's office, and Mr. Roger Falls, our CAO. Good morning, everyone. Let's see. Oh, then we have up there is a sign-up sheet telling us who all is attending this meeting and an agenda if you care to follow along. With that in mind, let's see. We will start with the consent action item as presented by Mr. Roger Falls.
Chair Payne and Commissioners, item 3A on your agenda is resolution 2025-110 declaring county property surplus property. Staff recommends approval of that item. The second item for you is item 3B on the agenda, and that's resolution 2025-111, also declaring county property surplus property, and staff recommends approval of that item as well. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Roger. Is there any questions from the commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve consent action items 3A and 3B as presented by Roger Ball.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent action items 3A and 3B. Is there any further comment from the commission? Seeing none, all in favor of approving this, these resolutions, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. The next item on our agenda, action item 4A. And this is one of my favorite things we've got to do here. Action item 4A is an ordinance number 2025-1 to establish school zone speed limits in all school zones, Lewis and Clark County, Montana, and to provide penalties for a violation thereof. And this is the second reading of this as required by law, and Mr. Dan Karlin is going to explain how this all works.
Good morning, Chair Payne, Commissioners. For the record, Dan Karlin, County Engineer. In the spring of 2025, it was brought to the attention of Public Works that Kaiser Road did not have school zones posted in the vicinity of one school. In response, Public Works requested an engineering and traffic investigation to evaluate the appropriate areas for school zones near Warren School as required by Montana Code. In addition, Public Works took the opportunity to assess all of the existing school zones within the county to ensure they meet current requirements. After completing the engineering and traffic investigation, a single ordinance was drafted that defined the school zones at each school in the county and appropriate speed limits with Montana Code 7-5103-103 dictates that an ordinance must be read and adopted by the governing body at 2 meetings not less than 12 days apart. This, as you mentioned, is the second reading of that ordinance. Before you today is ordinance number 2025-1 to establish school zone speed limits in all schools in Lewis and Clark County and to provide penalties for a violation thereof. Before I read the ordinance, I was going to just quickly go through each one so I can read straight through the ordinance.
Good idea. Go for it.
This first map is the Augusta Public School area and
Can you use the stand-up one, Dan? I'm sorry, that one, I emailed them.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
No problem. So that's the Augusta school zone area. You can see, we're adding there are stop signs for, again, establishing the school zone around the Augusta area there. This is the Canyon Creek Trinity School zone. This one already existed. This one was adjusted slightly.
One thing, yeah, so I noticed there's some of these roads we're not controlling. Are those Montana Department of Transportation roads, or what's the reason?
Chair Payne, Commissioners, so some of these roads are, if you're referring to this yellow road that I'm following with the point there, that's an NDT route. We do not have jurisdiction over that and we cannot place a signage on that route.
And reading the newspaper article about this issue, a remark was made about I believe it was York Road out by Warren School and why we're not including that. Could you explain that?
I certainly would. I can do that now, or we can wait till we get to the Warren School.
Okay.
Diagram.
Yes,
That's okay.
Warren, that's probably the last one, but that's okay. Yeah.
Chair Payne, it's your choice. Again, this is Canyon Creek, so this is this area. The school is right here, Canyon Creek Trinity School there. This third one is the East Helena Valley Middle School. You'll notice when we read through the county school zones are over here on the east side, which is within the county boundary, whereas on the west side, they looked at these, but these are all on the city side or within the city limits of East Helena. Eastgate Elementary, this is all within the county. We are adding one here and the other ones are remaining. Jim Darcy School, this one adds a few in the neighborhood to the north, as well as some over here on the east side by the bank and things of that nature. Lincoln School, these were already well established. Rossiter Elementary School, most of these were also here. We adjusted some of the distances away from the school, as well as added some on these roads that go to the neighborhoods to the north. Here's Warren School. This one was the one that prompted the overall ordinance and study. And you can see on the south leg, we added these ones as well as this 8 right here. And 4 of these were added. And then now, this is the same area, but this is with the aerial photo removed. You can see these gray lines. These are the MDT right-of-way lines. So this is what dictates their jurisdictional area. So this establishes where they're allowed to place their school zone signs and they are not allowed to put school zone signs. So the county school zone signs are on Kaiser Road and Old York Road. Oh, sorry about that. Zoom out a little bit. Old York Road for this diagram here, whereas York Road, current York Road, is an NDT route. So they have the jurisdiction over placing signs on that.
As I recall, there was a comment made by one of the students from Warren School who wrote to me, and I I had told you I received a stack of letters this thick, each one written by hand. Wasn't typed, it was not a form letter. I was so impressed. But his comment was when he crosses York Road to get to Warren Elementary School, and I don't know where the student lived, but possibly one of the other ways of getting in there, and he was concerned because he's afraid he's gonna get run over and there's no crossing signs there. Is the only crossing sign for York Road the one up where it intersects with, yeah, that road right there,
Okay.
the north-south road, yes.
Chair Payne, I'm gonna go back to this is the aerial photography. I'm gonna turn on the aerial photography so we can see a little bit closer there. So there is a road that's called Reardon Road. There's a gate here that prevents vehicle access through here. So this is a secondary access route into this subdivision, which is, I'm making an assumption here, it's an educated guess that this person who wrote the letter is in this subdivision over here. And is trying to come down Reardon and cross York Road at this location. You'll see here that there is not actually a crosswalk here. That's not an established crosswalk. That's a question for MDT that we can certainly ask. I know this has been brought up in the past about pedestrian crossings of York Road. It's a high-speed road. It's 55 miles an hour in this location, so.
I can see why the students would be concerned. If the Warren students who wrote to me wrote to somebody at the Montana Department of Transportation, who is the head of that now? Do you?
Chair Payne, commissioners, that would be Director Chris Dorrington is the head of MDT right now. Typically, when we submit a traffic letter, we also copy the traffic engineer for the district.
Okay.
I don't have on the top of my head, but I can certainly provide that.
That's okay. What I'm hoping is that someone with powers greater than ours will take notice of this and fix this so that we can get our students safely, and it isn't just county roads. The state of Montana needs to put a crosswalk in on York Road or whatever it is they want to do, but it's all of our jobs to keep these kids safe. So I will encourage the 5th grade in York or in Warren School to write another letter. And if they need help figuring out who to send it to, they can call Jenny Chambers, who's head of our planning and our public works department, and she knows and she can delegate somebody to him. There, okay?
Sure.
Mr. Antonhausen, comment.
Just a tiny bit of history, and hopefully most of it's accurate, because I'm doing this from memory, but if I remember correctly, when the subdivision was completed or proposed. Yes, proposed and then approved by us. This intersection and road was a big deal at the time. They needed a second access for emergency vehicles, those kind of things, emergency situations. So I think this was the access. However, MDT did not really want another vehicle access. I think everything from a separated pedestrian crossing to a crosswalk to a light was all considered and discussed, and I believe MDT was not in favor of any of those options. Thus, I believe the kids have option for a bus. From there, the left side of this subdivision, you can't see, there's a bus stop, and they bring them in by bus. So they're discouraged from walking and crossing a 55-mile-an-hour highway. I believe MDT, yeah, there's a bus stop right there. You can see that right there. Yep.
Okay.
If I think MVP did not want to stop traffic from 55 to 0 for pedestrians right there. They thought it was a safe option, I believe, if I'm remembering right. Jenny can surely look into it, planning in the planning guy. But just to give you some perspective on it, it was something that we went round and round and round about. It was essentially in the end out of our control for that crossing. Could determine the outcome of our decision on something based on something that we didn't control. And then this was the alternative to have bus route that subdivision, this end of the subdivision for safety drive to school. So that, I think that was the alternative. But just to give you some history, and I think most of that was correct, but it was a while ago.
Thank you, Andy. That's very helpful, and it makes sense that they would be safer walking down the bus stop and getting on the bus. And I can also see MDT's point of view, that that's a 55 mile an hour. So they're gonna have trouble getting people slowed down and stopped. Boy, I'm sure glad we have smart people working on these problems. Tom, do you have any comments?
No, I did, I guess just one thought in mind, I really appreciate the initiative that you did, so people had to check the rest of the school buildings at the same time that update signs there when this one came up, so thanks for thinking more universally for the county, so I appreciate you doing it.
Hey. Is there any further comment from the commission? Is there any public comment? Ooh, Dan, you're not done. I'm
Chair
sorry.
Payne, yes.
Why did you finish
Sorry,
up?
thank you.
Before I take her up.
All right, so this was Warren School. We've looked at that one. We've also got the Wolf Creek School. Again, this one was already pre-established prior, and that's the last one. So with that, I can now read the ordinance into the record.
Please do. And this is the second reading of the ordinance.
Chair Payne, Commissioners, that is correct. Second reading of ordinance number 2025-1, Lewis and Clark County School Zone Speed Limits. An ordinance to establish school zone speed limits in all school zones, Lewis and Clark County, Montana, and to provide penalties for a violation thereof. Whereas the Lewis and Clark County Board of County Commissioners requested a review of the school zone speed limits within the county, and whereas the Lewis and Clark County Public Works Department inventoried and reviewed school zone limits in the county to determine if school zone limits are established as defined in the 11th edition Manual of Uniform Traffic Devices published by the United States Federal Highway Administration, and whereas the Lewis and Clark County Public Works Department inventoried and reviewed existing posted speed limits within school zones in the county to determine if the established speed limits for each school zone is appropriate in accordance with Montana Code annotated 61-8-310, and whereas the Lewis and Clark County Public Works Department determined the school zone speed limits should be set in accordance with Montana Code annotated 61-8-310 as determined by the traffic investigation completed on June 17th, 2025, attached as Exhibit A, and now therefore be it ordained by the County Commission of Lewis and Clark County, State of Montana, Section 1 speed limit established. The speed limit within each school zone shall be set to Augusta School Zone, 15 miles per hour on Hogan Street from Laura Street to Broadway Street, on Broadway Street from Beach Street to Manic Street. Canyon Creek School Zone, 15 miles per hour on Duffy Lane from 1,000 feet east of Highway 279 to 3,000 feet east of Highway 279. East Valley Middle School Zone, 15 miles per hour on Oak Avenue, 150 feet south of East Clinton Street to East Lewis Street. On East Lewis Street, 450 feet east of Oak Avenue to Oak Avenue. East Clinton Street, from 250 feet east of Oak Avenue to Oak Avenue. East King Street, 250 feet east of Oak Avenue to Oak Avenue. East Dudley Street, 250 feet east of Oak Avenue to Oak Avenue. Eastgate Elementary School Zone, 20 miles per hour on East Lewis Street from 460 feet west of Lake Helena Drive to Lake Helena Drive. On Lake Helena Drive, from 250 feet north of Remington Street to 375 feet south of Gray State Street. Jim Darcy School Zone, 15 miles per hour on Grand Valley Loop from Lincoln Road West to 550 feet north of Lincoln Road West. King Post Loop from 400 feet south of Hammer Beam Road to 120 feet west of Russon Way. On Rustic Way, King Post Loop to 375 feet south of King Post Loop. Russon Drive from Rustic Way, 150 feet east of Rustic Way. Lincoln School Zone, 15 miles per hour on North First Street from 360 feet west of Sucker Creek Road to 680 feet west of Sucker Creek Road. North Second Street, 225 feet west of North 8th Avenue to 1,225 east of North 8th Avenue. On North 8th Avenue, from Main Street to 100 feet north of 2nd Street. 100 feet north of 2nd Street. Roster School Zone, 15 miles per hour on Sierra Road East, 150 feet west of Marcella Burke Drive, 150 feet west of Frontage Drive. Goodwin Drive, Sierra Road East to 250 feet north of Sierra Road East. Center Drive, Sierra Road East to 250 feet north of Sierra Road. Warren School Zone, 15 miles per hour on Kaiser Road, 150 feet south of York Road to 475 feet south of Old York Road. Old York Road, 575 feet west of Tiger Road to Tiger Road. The Wolf Creek School Zone, 15 miles on North Wall Street from 100 feet south of High Street to 350 feet north of High Street. Section 2, speed limit signs. Upon adoption of this ordinance, the Public Works Department shall erect the appropriate signs giving drivers notice of the regulatory speed limit established by the ordinance. Section 3, severability. Should any court declare any part of this ordinance unconstitutional or invalid, the ordinance as a whole or any part thereof, other than that part so declared to be unconstitutional or invalid, shall remain in effect. Section 4, effective date. This ordinance shall take effect 30 days after the date of the second reading and approval of this ordinance by the County Commission. Section 5, modification. This ordinance may be modified by formal action by the County Commission in the same manner as required in the adoption of the ordinance. Section 6, duration. This ordinance shall remain in effect until repealed or surrendered by other legislative
Suspended.
There we go. Thank you. By other legislative or judicial action. Right. Read and adopted at first reading this, I believe it was the 12th of October.
It was 7th day of October, city.
7th day of October 2025 by the Lewis and Clark County Board of County Commissioners, state of Montana. And the remainder of that block signed by the chair. And plus complete.
Thank you, Dan.
Answer additional questions you may.
Are there any questions from the commission? Seeing none. Is there any public comment? Seeing none. In that case, I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, post second reading, I would move that we adopt ordinance number 2025-1, Lewis and Clark County School Zone speed limits as presented by Mr. Karlin.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we should to make sure I approve ordinance number 2025-1 in this its second reading, as explained by Dan Karlin. All those in favor of approving the second reading of this ordinance indicate by saying whoop. Before I do that, I have to say, is there any other comment from the commission? Andy?
Chair Payne, just like to appreciate Mr. Karlin's work and the others I know probably reviewed by County Attorney's Office. Thank you. participated, but big packet, lots of work, so thank you. Good work on that, thanks for your presentation, Dan, appreciate it, and glad that we pointed out to us, thanks to the kids for road trip.
I'm so pleased that they,
You'll share this.
yeah, they're part of our community and thrilled that they recognize. Anything?
No, I just, like I said, appreciate the great work of Mr. Karlin and the other folks in the public works staff.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of adopting ordinance number 2025-1 to establish school zone speed limits as presented by Mr. Dan Karlin, and we are hereby second reading. All those in favor, indicate by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Dan. Estate. Next on our agenda, action item 4B, grant application to the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services, presented by Sarah Sandau. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Chair Payne and members of the Commission. I'm Sarah Sandau, the Grant Specialist at Lewis and Clark Public Health. The Commissioners will consider the grant application to the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services for their increasing capacity, training, and education for injury prevention in Montana funding opportunity. The grant period begins November 15th, 2025 through July 31st, 2026 in the amount of up to $5,000. As part of a grant funded by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services is establishing a funding opportunity to increase capacity and training around injury prevention in Montana. This project is intended to be implemented at a local level, so it's either a city, county, or region within Montana. Lewis and Clark Public Health would like to apply for up to $5,000 for capacity building to increase staff knowledge in the grant priority area of motor vehicle crashes by attending the Lifesavers Conference. The Lifesavers Conference is one of the top conferences to learn about, and then this is their quote specifically, about the latest highway safety research, best practices, and cutting-edge initiatives, and to explore innovative technology and strategies used to combat risky driving behaviors and save lives. This year, the conference will take place on April 19th through the 21st in Baltimore, Maryland. The Lifesavers Conference program is designed to engage federal, state, and local government, law enforcement, public health, injury prevention advocacy, and nonprofit organization professionals in a way to exchange ideas, strategies, and programs to reduce preventable injuries and deaths. The knowledge gained from this conference will improve our prevention efforts and work that we conduct through our local Lewis and Clark County Fetal, Infant, Child, Maternal Mortality Review, also referred to as FICMR. This group is a statewide effort powered locally by multidisciplinary teams that reduce risk factors and decrease the number of preventable deaths through educational outreach and evidence-based and best practice prevention initiatives. Lewis and Clark Public Health leads our local interdisciplinary team. Motor safety often comes up in these reviews, and this conference could help build capacity with increasing our knowledge of best practices in this realm. Once the 2 staff members who attend the conference return, they will do a presentation to educate both that fetal, infant, child, and maternal mortality review team, as well as the home visiting team and what they've learned and new best practices. Staff recommends approval. And here.
Thank you, Sarah. Any questions from the commission? Seeing no questions, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I would entertain the motion.
Sure. Chair Payne, I would move to approve the grant application to the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services as explained by Sarah Sandau.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that we approve this grant application. Is there any further comment from the commission?
European, if I might. This is, oh, okay. As a young child, I was family business. That part of that business was a record service, and from the time I could walk, I would go with my dad when a new wreck was hauled into the store. And I became an early advocate for child restraints for seatbelts. And because I saw firsthand the damage and the pain and the death that happens when people are not properly restrained. So to me, this is personally very important. And I hope that you'll continue good work in this area.
Thank you, Tom. Well, then moved and seconded. Then further comment, and now we can vote. All in favor of approving the grant application to the Montana Department of Public Health and Human Services as explained by Sarah Sandau, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Sarah. Now to the meat of the matter. We will, agenda item, action item 4C, contract between Lewis and Clark County and Bill's Maintenance Service Incorporated, presented by Jessica Magus. Good morning, Jessica.
Good morning, Champaign. Good morning, Commissioner. My name is Jessica Magus, Special Districts Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. Before you this morning is a contract with Bill's Maintenance Service Incorporated to provide snow removal and related services within various rural improvement districts throughout Lewis and Clark County. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises in RID. This maintenance was listed through a request for qualification for RFQ that was advertised in the Helena Independent Record on September 20th, 2025 and September 27th, 2025. Statements of qualifications or SOQs were accepted and unsealed on a rolling basis beginning Monday, October 6th, 2025. This type of solicitation was used with the intent to create a roster of qualified contractors to work with through the 2025-2026 winter season. With 150 different RIDs, we need a lot of contractors to help us plow snow in as timely a manner as we can. Because we are accepting these SOQs on a rolling basis, contracts will be presented to you as they are developed. For the second round, today, there are 5 statements of qualifications that have been received, reviewed, and accepted by Public Works Department staff, with rates negotiated and contracts drafted based on information included in the SOQ. The final acceptance date for SOQs was yesterday, October 20th. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Bill's Maintenance Service Incorporated and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Is there any questions from the commission? I think you raised them in our last. Is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I would entertain a motion.
Champaign, I move that we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Bill's Maintenance Services. Yeah.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this contract. Is there any further comment from the commission? Seeing none, all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next on our agenda. Contract between Lewis and Clark County and Berkeley LPDEA Brown Guys, also presented by Jessica Magus.
Thank you, Champaign. Again, Jessica Magus, Special District Coordinator. Before you this morning is a contract with Berkeley Limited doing business as the Ground Guys. to provide snow removal and related services within various rural improvement districts throughout Lewis and Clark County. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises in RIDs. This contract was solicited through the RFQ that was described in the previous agenda item. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Virgo Limited doing business as the ground guy and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions from the commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Burkle Limited, doing businesses, the ground guys, as explained by Jessica Mason.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this contract. Is there any further comment from the commission? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving this contract, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those not approving, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next on our agenda today, item 4E, contract between Lewis and Clark County and Corpy Lawn and Landscape, presented by Jessica Mangus.
Thank you, Chair Payne and Jessica Magus, Special Districts Coordinator for Lewis and Clark County. Before you this morning is a contract with Corpy Lawn and Landscape to provide snow removal and related services within various rural improvement districts throughout Lewis and Clark County. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises. Again, this contract was solicited through the same RFQ that was detailed in agenda item 4C. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Corpy Lawn and Landscape and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. Thank you.
Jessica, any questions from the commission? Seeing no questions, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I move that we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Corpy Lawn and Landscape as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this contract. Is there any further comment from the commission? Seeing none, all in favor of approving this contract indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is the contract. This is agenda item 4F, contract between Lewis and Clark County and Premier Utility Solutions LLC, as presented by Jessica Mangus.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Again, Jessica Magus, Special Districts Coordinator. Before you this morning is a contract with Premier Utility Solutions LLC to provide snow removal and related services within various rural improvement districts throughout Lewis and Clark County. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises in RID. This contract was solicited through the RFP that was detailed in agenda item 4C. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Premier Utility Solutions LLC and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Any comment or questions from the commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment, I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move to approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Premier Utility Solutions LLC, as explained by Jessica Mangus.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the contract with Premier Utility Solutions for the 2025-2026 snow removal and related services. Is there any further comment? Seeing none, all in favor of approving this contract indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, opposed, same sign, motion passes unanimously. Jessica. And item 4G, contract between Lewis and Clark County and Sussex Construction, as presented by Jessica.
Thank you, Chair Payne. Before you this morning is a contract with Sussex Construction to provide snow removal and related services within various rural improvement districts throughout Lewis and Clark County. Work under this contract will be completed on an on-call basis as the need for this maintenance arises in RIDs. Again, this contract was listed through the same RFQ that was detailed in item 4C. Staff recommend approval of the contract with Sussex Construction and authorize the chair to sign contract documents. This is our last one for this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Is there any questions from the commission? Seeing none, is there any public comment? Seeing no public comment. I would entertain a motion.
Chair Payne, I would move that we approve the contract between Lewis and Clark County and Sussex Construction as presented.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we approve this contract with Sussex Construction as explained by Jessica Magus. Is there any further comment?
Chair
Commission. And
just appreciation for your work. Never pass up an opportunity to thank people. Thank you.
and we thank you now, but we will thank you later when the snow is deep and we're getting phone calls from people saying, why are wow, so thank you, Jessica. Anything, Tom? Okay. The comment, are you, okay, I guess we can vote on this. All in favor of approving the contract with Sussex Construction as explained by Jessica Magus, indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, same sign. Motion passes unanimously. It is now come time for any public comment on any public matter within the jurisdiction of the commission that is not on the agenda above. Seeing no public comment, this meeting is adjourned.